Our NBA season preview, the 8th player according to NBA rank, 2-time MVP, 3-time champ, Steph Curry. His Warriors were expected to contend for another title this season, but Klay Thompson's season-ending Achilles injury, a huge blow to their chances, wishing him a speedy recovery. Max, is the Warriors dynasty over?
Yes, it's over in the sense that they're not the dominant franchise anymore. A dynasty doesn't mean that the same players can once again win a championship eventually. I think Steph's got another chip in him. I think the owners of the Warriors and the front office of the Warriors are enterprising enough that whether or not Klay comes back as his real self, they have enough chips to play with that they can put together a championship team before Steph is done. But that doesn't make it a dynasty. Molly, you know I always use my New York Yankees as an example. You know, the Derek Jeter New York Yankees won 4 World Series in 5 years, and then won again in 2009. Jeter won another one in 2009. You wouldn't say all those years were part of the same dynasty. You just wouldn't. You can pop your head up, win a chip. It doesn't make, what makes you a dynasty is you win year after year. You're in the mix for the chip year after year, and you win some along the way with the same nucleus of players. Those days are over for the Warriors. I do think they have another left in them, but it's not going to be connected to what we just saw.
That was an absolutely asinine opinion as far as I'm concerned, because you can't compare the situation with Derek Jeter and those brothers where they won the World Series in 2000 and then they didn't win again in 2009 to the Golden State Warriors, who won the championship back-to-back, only lost because Kevin Durant got hurt and then Klay went down in Game 6. And then last year, Steph and Klay pretty much didn't play. So if the Warriors come back and they're making the playoffs this season and then Klay returns next year and they win the chip, that means they would have won it with Steph. That means they would have won it with Klay. That means they would have won it with Draymond, which is tagged along the same dynastic on the
so
same
you're picking them to win it next
level.
Year.
Because again, say what?
So you're picking them to win it next year.
Well, when they get back, we'll see how healthy Klay is.
Next year.
No, that's not what I'm saying. That's not what I'm saying. That's a ridiculous question.
You're saying potentially
the point
they
is,
can.
if Klay comes up, I'm talking about the same bodies, the same people. The same people. So if Steph and Klay won back-to-back titles, went to 3 straight NBA finals, okay, or 5 straight, and then last year, COVID-19 plus the injuries get in the way, and this year, next season, Klay is obviously out for this coming season rather than this, and then they come back next year and they win the chip. It's pretty much the same bodies without sans a player or two. But Dre, Steph, and Klay would still be there. That's a part of that dynasty. That's not 9 years removed like the Yankees.
Yeah, I have to agree with Stephen A. I strongly believe that the Warriors dynasty is not over. Long as you have Steph and Klay comes back healthy, 2 guys that don't rely on athleticism, 2 guys that could shoot the ball, from your words, Stephen A. Smith, from the parking lot. One thing I've learned is to never doubt that light-skinned, green-eyed brother down there in the Bay that be shooting the hell out of the damn basketball. And to your point about Draymond Green had a terrible year last year, but Draymond Green is the ultimate role player. And when when Klay gets back, along with Steph Curry, and then you add an Andrew Wiggins, along with a Kelly Oubre, along with a James Wiseman, all these guys coming together, Draymond is going to flourish well because he's now going to be able to go back to that facilitator, that passer, that defensive anchor, the defensive player of the year that we've seen the past couple of years, that how he's able to dominate as an undersized forward man and an undersized center. And then when you look at it, their culture is still there. It hasn't went anywhere. So you look at with Draymond, Klay, and Steph, these guys have at least 4 or 5 more years of good basketball left in them. So the dynasty is not over.
Highly unlikely.
KP, let me say this to Max. Let me say this to Max before we go. Max, I want to be very, very clear about where I stand. A healthy Steph with a healthy Klay Thompson are going to the conference finals at a minimum. I want to be very clear about that.
Well, okay, so those 2 healthy, which is up in the air, right? Those 2 healthy are going to a conference finals in a conference with the Lakers, who are also going to be there. Also, the Phoenix Suns, who KP has brought up and are on the way up.
And the Mavericks,
the Clippers. the Nuggets.
All of them
but
out the
Golden State's
window
gonna be
with a
there.
healthy
So does
Steph
that
and
make
Clay?
you part of a
Yes.
dynasty? So getting to the Western Conference Finals makes you a dynasty? Wrong. No, it doesn't.
No.
I don't think they're going to win it next year.
I was just
What am
answering
winning
your
a chip?
question.
I don't think they're going to win it the
I
year
was just
after
answering
that.
your question.
And by the way,
I was just answering
before
your
KD
question.
got there, the only reason they ever beat the Cavs is
Your
because Kyrie and Kevin Love got hurt.
You changed the question. You changed the question and asked me directly. I'm
just said
saying
it-
if they
you
win the
said
chip with the
potentially.
same
You said it
bodies,
depends.
that's a
You get it.
dynasty. But at the
Depends.
very least, they are
Potentially,
going to the
changed the
conference
question.
finals if they're both healthy.
It depends.
Same
I get it,
bodies.
Stephen A.
Potentially, the
I think it's a good
question
point. It
might have
depends
been
on
Same
variables.
bodies.
Player according to NBA rankings and the superstar dominating the news lately, former MVP James Harden. It's no secret he wants out of H-Town, but practiced with the team yesterday and is expected to play in preseason action tonight. Stephen A., what should the Rockets do with James Harden?
Well, they should unload him. He wants out. Let him go. I don't like the fact that, you know what, an African-American coach that waited 20 years for this opportunity finally gets it, and the star, one of the prolific scorers this game has ever seen, doesn't want to be there. So when I hear my man Kendrick Perkins speaking on the jump like he did the other day, or I hear my brother Steven Jackson from All the Smokes podcast with Matt Barnes speaking about James Harden, they ain't wrong. They weren't wrong with what they're saying. But in the end, because you want out, the bottom line is it's not a good situation for Steven Silas to be coaching in because your star doesn't want to be a part of the mix. So as a result of that, you unload him. Now, you don't unload him for nothing. You make sure that you get equitable compensation or as close to it as you can possibly get. But you make it very, very clear to James Harden, we're not telling you no. We're not saying stay because we got you locked under contract for the next 2 years. Because that's not going to fly because that's a poisonous situation for the team to be in, the rest of the team around them. But what you do tell them is, we will exhaust every means and every measure to get you up out of here and where you want to go, but we will not let you go for cheap compensation. You're one of the elite players in this game, and we're going to make sure we get the farm for you if we let you go. You can at least tell them that and then work to move them out.
Well, you got to deal with them sooner than later is the problem because the issue really is as he's continually disgruntled and increasingly unhappy, he becomes more of a distressed asset and his trade value decreases. Stephen A., what you're talking about is people ain't coming with their best and final offer now because it ain't the trade deadline yet, right? And so people talk about like you can buy a car like this. You can call up all the different dealers in the area and say, look, I'm giving everyone one chance to make their best offer. And they'll tell you, well, when you're shopping around, come back. Say, no. One chance, what's your best price? That'll actually get you the best price immediately. That's how you're supposed to buy a car. That's how you're supposed to sell James Harden. If the Rockets are serious, then they won't wait until the trade deadline to see, oh, now people are getting serious. Now they'll give us their best and final offer because that offer will be less than it is today because they have to move him. This is it's an untenable situation. Rockets need to get on the phone right now and let people know we are moving hard. Best and final. We're not negotiating. What you got? Take the best offer and be done with it.
Well, Max, you're wrong because they don't have to move James Harden. They don't have to. He's under contract for the next 2 years, so they don't have to do a damn thing. Now, what they need to do is they need to move him, but they don't have to do anything. They could keep James Harden, and the brothers just going to have to show up to work and perform at a high level and give that MVP type performance on the court until he finds his next destination. But right now, what you're looking at is Houston has lost leverage. James Harden has lost leverage. And if I'm the Rockets, I'm going to hold on to James Harden right now, and I'm going to weigh it out. I'm going to see if he comes in. He's supposed to play on Thursday, and I'm going to see how it's going to happen, how it's going to work in the next 25 to 30 games. I'm not going to rush anything right now because, like you said, teams are not going to give you what you want for James Harden right now. So with that being said, you got to keep him and try to make this thing work some type of way and don't force the issue. If I am in the front office and I am the general manager of the Houston Rockets, I probably want to reach out to David Griffin and pay a consultant fee and find out how did he handle the Anthony Davis situation so superb and find out and get advice from him on how to handle this